What is going on, everyone? Today, going to be discussing Investing 101 Part 1. Where do I even start? Let's get it. Since I started this YouTube journey, I've actually had quite a few people reach out to me and just say, hey, I am looking into investing. I just don't know where to begin or what to do. And so I'm going to do a video to inform you of all that information. It's going to be part one of a series. And the reason it's going to be a series is because there's so much that goes into purchasing your first stock and then creating a portfolio. And then as you keep going, there's so many different avenues you can go down. There's options. There's all kinds of things that you can get into. And so I'm going to keep it very basic on this first one, and even just how to start is probably what I'm going to hit on the most. I'm an investor, and I was there. I really didn't know what to do. So I kind of reached out and looked to YouTube, honestly. I started researching, and I really wanted to purchase stocks. The very first step in all of this is to open a brokerage account. And there's so many companies out there that offer brokerage accounts. Just to give you a few: Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, Webull, Robinhood, and they're all present something different. They really do. Each one has their positives and each one has their negatives. And I'm going to kind of discuss which brokerage accounts I opened and the benefits that each one presents. There are ways you can open a brokerage account. The first option, and that's the first option I chose, was to open a brokerage account through my current 401k retirement plan, which is by Charles Schwab. I went ahead and opened a brokerage account through Charles Schwab, and I started putting money from my paycheck at work into that brokerage account so then I could purchase stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds. The caveat to this option is that when you purchase those stocks, they're in there until you retire. So you can't start actually taking money from that until you hit your retirement age and you start withdrawing the money out of your 401k, things like that. The option is to pick one of those companies that I listed earlier. And when you pick from those, you're choosing an online broker, and it's with that company, and you can basically set it up to where you're getting taxed anytime you make capital gains. And what that means is that if I were to purchase a stock and then sell it, then I would get taxed on that, but I can withdraw that money into my bank account at any time. My example to you for this is I opened a TD Ameritrade brokerage account, and I started funding that when I can with my own money. And then I started to purchase stocks, and as it builds and I sell, then I can put that money back into my account, but it's taxed due to the capital gains. One of the reasons I chose TD Ameritrade was because of its paper trading. Most people are like, well, what's paper trading? Paper trading is basically you're purchasing and selling stocks on the open market, but with fake money. And I think this is a great tool, especially for a new investor. It gives you the ability to really understand what you're getting into, and it's realistic. I really used paper trading heavily before I ever purchased my first stock in TD Ameritrade. That way I really understood what I was doing, and I could honestly see how I was losing money and what I was doing wrong. So if I might have gotten into a stock maybe when it was hitting a high, and I probably shouldn't have, and then I saw the losses happen. Well, I learned from that. My advice with paper trading is that if you're going to start paper trading, do it realistically. And what I mean by that is you can choose any amount of money to start paper trading with. So if you're going to start investing, we'll just say $2,000. Well, if I start paper trading with $500,000 and I'm buying these stocks that I know I'm not going to be able to purchase with $2,000, you're not doing yourself a service. I quickly want to touch on platforms, and each one of these brokerage accounts has their own platform. And one that I would recommend would be Webull. Their platform on the internet and even on your phone is tremendous. that's where I utilize my research. Is I go to Webull. I think they present the best information when it comes to understanding what you're purchasing, as far as the company, where the stock's currently at, and just the image and how it's workable is just great. It has so many options inside their platform. They give you analysis. They even actually have a comment section, so you can kind of see what people are commenting on that stock, whether it's a positive, a negative, and they're being able to give you their own thoughts and telling you advice. Now that you've opened a brokerage account and you have the confidence to make your first purchase, you've done all your research, I'm going to go over some simple terms on things that you need to know before you actually make that first purchase. The term you need to know is market order. And what a market order is that you're going to make that purchase or that sell immediately. You want it this very second. So let's say, for example, you're going to buy Apple. And Apple is going for $235. And you don't care, you're just wanting the Apple at that moment. You're probably going to choose the market order, and it's going to get you in at that $235 price. Well, let's say that the $235 goes up to $235.05. It's still going to get you in because you're choosing the market order. It's putting you in at what the market price is at. It's for the same when you're selling the stock. So when you go to sell the stock and you're choosing market order, you don't care what the price is. You're going to sell it for its market price. So let's say you go to choose to sell Apple at $235. Well, if I choose market order and it happens to go down to $234.95 and you choose market order, you're going to sell it at that price. Definitely utilize market order, specifically in buying in some aspects. The reason I've done that is because I've found a stock that I felt was at a great price and I really wanted to get in immediately. That's the biggest thing, guys, is that a market order is going to get you in a pretty good chance you're going to get in immediately. The term I want to go over is limit and limit order. So when you're discussing and you're talking about limit, basically you're determining what you're going to purchase that stock at. So once again, let's refer back to Apple. If I want to buy Apple at $235 and it's currently at $236, $237, and I feel that Apple is going to drop off to $235, I'm going to set a limit order. So I'm assuming that something's going to cause Apple's stock price to come down to $235. Once it hits that $235 price, it's going to put you into that stock. It goes for when you're going to sell the stock. If you put a limit on it, basically you're determining your sell price. So if, let's say, for example, you want to sell it at $235, and you know for a fact that Apple is going to climb up to $235. So we'll say it's kind of sitting at $234, $234.50, and you're like, hey, I really feel like it's going to get to the $235 mark. I'm going to put a limit order on this. You're basically going to sell it as soon as it hits that $235, and you're going to make your capital gains on that. They're just two basic buying and selling styles. There's other things that you can do. There's stop losses. That's key when it comes to selling. If you don't want to lose profits, you're going to set a stop loss. So someone might set a stop loss 10 cents below. We'll say, for example, $235 is Apple's price. And let's say you don't want it to drop any more than $234.90. You're going to set a stop loss at $234.90. That way, as soon as it hits that stop loss, it's going to sell immediately. That way you're making your profits and you're not really losing a bunch of money. Remember those three terms when you're first starting out. It's going to be market order, limit order, and stop loss. The time has come. It's time to purchase your first stock. Wow, here we are. Honestly, for me, it was a rush. Knowing I was going to be buying my first stock, I was extremely excited. Just the idea of being able to invest into a company and see it grow and make money from that is just, I don't know, it's just a great feeling to me. The reason I used Apple as my first example was because that's the first stock that I made my purchase in. I always wanted Apple. I've done my research well before I ever got into it, and that is definitely a recommendation, guys, especially before you buy your first stock. Understand what you're getting into. Just don't go buy a stock because you like its logo or you think its colors are cool. Understand what you're getting into. Hopefully you guys enjoyed part 1 of this series. And if you did, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if this content is something you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button as well. I'm going to keep the content flowing. And as always, have a good day.